Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, welcome. Greetings and blessings to each and every one of you. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And blessings to you, your friends, your family, and each and every one of you. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to receive and accept the blessings, the knowledge, and the healings from the universe. Now, I want to make a disclaimer, and I'm probably going to say it a couple of times throughout this video. Welcome to you. Thank you for stopping by. I will make this disclaimer throughout this video, and it's going to be very basically. This is a frank discussion about what the Ascension is, what this fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and what some folks, and it's becoming very popular now. It seems to be intensifying in some ways about us ascending and what it means. And we're going to go into the fourth. We're going to skip the fourth. We're going to go right into the fifth dimension. We're going to be doing this, that, and the other thing. And I want everyone to know that I'm not trying in any way, shape, or form to put anyone's theories or whatever to poo-poo. Quite frankly, it's taken me several hours for me to not want to say something nasty, because some of this stuff in one of my compartments in my head is that I just want to really just get down and get dirty and say these people are flat out lying. But with that said, though, there's the other side of me that says, but I just can't come out and say that. Well, in a way I did. But I want to present the information rather than just these people are full of BS. I want to give some rational, natural reasons why what some of these people are putting out on the light channels and workers and mediums and this and this and that and the other thing. And I would like to just try to keep things in perspective. Okay. There are natural laws of nature that some of these people, I believe, have somehow skipped. I don't know if they simply don't have enough information. So this is not to be critical about how they attained the knowledge they did or whether or not they're right or wrong. However, I'm going to state some things here and that I want you to understand. I'm basing this on very ancient shamanistic basics. It's physics. I made a video the other night about the quantum. I've talked about different other things. And so this ties into what I spoke about in another video just the other day or two. And I want to tie this in, but I want to make sure that I'm not trying to beat anybody up about this. Okay. Hello, Michelle. How are you? Good evening to you as well. It's morning here, but it's still kind of evening to me. I'm on Dave time. I didn't set any of my clocks forward again this year. I'm one of those renegades. But Michelle, you were probably around towards the end of the video that I did the other night. Thank you as well, and continued blessings and prayers sent your way. You might have been around for some of this at the end of the video the other night, but I'm going to have to repeat some of it. But I've meditated on this, and I've had my little angel messages, and they're telling me I need to have this conversation. But I need to make sure that everybody understands I'm not trying to beat anybody up. Okay. But we do need, for what some of these people are trying to sell us, we need to understand, do they have all the information for what they're trying to claim? Now, this is it. Some of these folks are claiming, oh, the fourth dimension, oh, the fifth dimension. Some of these folks have even made reference that, oh, we're actually there. When we're through this ascension. Now, if for those of you who have been watching me for a while, you know that it's not any kind of ascension at all. It's transition. We are transitioning. It is an evolution type of thing that we're going through. It's natural. It doesn't happen very often on this planet, but we're going through it right now. And it's very interesting times. But in the shamanic studies and looking at the quantum and the physical and the science, we need to understand we can't skip a grade. Now, I used this metaphor the other night in the previous video, and I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but it is, I thought, how can I best explain this? Right now, we are all in the third grade, okay? And there are folks saying that some of us are going to be, oh, we're going to ascend. And I guess we're just going to float from classroom to classroom. I'm thinking of my grade school. I grew up at most and went to elementary school at Most Holy Redeemer in Tampa. So, hi, Cindy. Hey to you as well. A rebel with a cause. Thank you, Michelle. But with this, Cherry, blessings. Hello again. So, nice little group you folks are. I tell you. I'm privileged to have you join me in the chats always. But I meditated on this, and I mean, I prayed about it. I said, listen, what about this here? And in the reality of a shaman, everything is in steps. And Nabby, hi, hello, Willie Nelson, thank you. Yes, I'm going to put some music together, and I've been having a couple of people that said, that I sound like Willie Nelson, and I've got a couple of Willie songs that I absolutely love. So I'm being prompted myself to pick up my guitars, and I have several guitars and mandolin and all different kinds of instruments, and several Native American flutes and things. And as a healing for myself with all the trauma that my brain went through during that over medication and all of the grand mal seizures that I had, a lot of stuff just got blanked, and I couldn't see or hear the music like I used to. And now through all of the meditation and healing and things like that, the music's coming back to me, that I can feel the chords coming back into my fingertips, for example. My hands are stronger than they were even just 6 months ago. But with that said, so let me stick to the topic with this, and thank you all. I appreciate it very much. When just simply, without trying to criticize somebody, let's just look at the natural order of things. You can't have a chicken without an egg. First, you got to go through the process. And to jump from third dimension to what some of these people are claiming is we are ascending, that we're going to somehow, some of these folks are saying we're going to go as high as the ninth dimension. That is like coming out of third grade and getting put into, in my case, Tampa Catholic, ninth grade was high school. Now it's middle school or something. I don't know. But anyway, ninth grade. So almost high school. And it's that, so you're going to take somebody out of third grade and put them into the ninth grade, and everything's going to work out. Hello, Supernatural. Let me see what you got to say, Supernatural. I think what is maybe is that anything good going on or natural positive seems to get co-opted in some way by the deceivers. Part of the duality thing, I guess. Hi, Supernatural, and hey, back to you. Yes, and I think here's part of the issue with this. I think some of these folks have been sucked into this, that, well, because we're going to ascend. No, it's a transitional phase, We don't really want to ascend. We don't want to jump. I was, after I did the video last night, I asked my spirits, I'm like, give me a picture of what this looks like. And it would be like, a 10-year-old kid going to a swimming pool for the first time and seeing people jump off the low diving board and jumping towards the edge of the pool and swimming over and be like that. And then they showed me the peaks of Acapulco with these cliff divers diving into the ocean. So it's like, it would be like a 10-year-old first time jumping off of the low dive at a swimming pool. And then the next thing you know, you're standing on the cliffs in Acapulco diving off a 300-foot cliff. That would be like third dimension to ninth dimension. That's what they showed me this morning. And I was like, oh, I get that. So to try to put it into physical terms, think about it. Do we want to go do a high dive? Don't we want to check it out a couple of heights up? Don't we want to learn some things along the way? Do we just want to go to the top of the mountain and say Yahoo and whatever come what may? That isn't how nature works. In the natural scheme of things blow up when you do that. And so for folks who are trying to, yeah, this is the natural thing. Yeah, we're going to ascend to the ninth dimension. Where some folks are pushing, they left out the fourth dimension altogether. They say we're already in the fourth dimension, and I gotta say, hang on, folk. Are you seeing orbs yet? Are you seeing the spirits? Have you seen the veil being lifted? Now, these last couple of days, I've seen some outside my window, some really strange energy things going on. And I just got to scratch my head and go, But, it's a personal thing. But, for you and your reality, there's almost seems like there's been another timeline shift or something. But this idea that we're all just simply going to float up into this other plane and we're somehow going to join all of these people who have lived on the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 12th dimension. I even was watching one a couple of weeks back. They said, yeah, we're going to be able to jump right to the 12th dimension. You don't want to jump to the 12th dimension. Stop and think about this. You want to go from third grade to being a senior in high school. No. That makes no sense whatsoever. In the grand scheme of the universe, everything evolves. So now let me put this little caveat. I had a friend of mine come over tonight, and we were talking about the evolution of things, which kind of evolved into the wanting to do this conversation. He just left a few minutes ago, and I wanted to continue on this conversation in that, yes, all things evolve. But do I think we evolved from a monkey? No, we have more in common with a whale or something, It's like, no. But do we evolve as human beings? Absolutely. When I grew up in the 50s and 60s, we had black and white television. Now I have a computer that I can talk to y'all on. This is like Dick Tracy from the old days with the wristwatch thingy. So, in my lifetime, we just started the rocketry good. And now whether we went to the moon or not, it's kind of like, don't know. But I absolutely believe there are things out in space without a doubt. I was watching, I keep an eye on on some of the LASCO C2, C3 satellites, and there's all kinds of activity out there, y'all, that ain't natural. It's flying this way and this way and this way, and some of them just look like the Enterprise on Star Trek, the way it's shaped looks exactly like it, kind of thing, streaking across the sun. Okay, scientists, explain that one, please. And they're so frequent now. It's like I just look and I'm like, holy cow, look at this stuff. Nobody wants to discuss it. This is not for this discussion. Here's the deal, though. We must understand the natural order of things. It would be wrong for us to even think about skipping a grade. That's the big thing. We want to go to the fourth. We want to go hang out. There are things that we are going to learn. So if you're listening to somebody who's like, oh, we're going to the fourth dimension, we're already in the fourth, we're going to go to the fifth and then on. Yes, over time, that is true. But they're assuming that when this event happens, which we're in the middle of, or actually a little over halfway, I believe, into the event, 2023 seems to be the key year. Not any particular date in there, but kind of time span, in that the things that the spirits have been showing me, and I've been keeping an eye on other stuff. And even Simon Parks years ago was talking about 2023. So, but the notion that the number 23 came in a vision I had a couple of weeks ago. So, and then it's coming back around. And it just seems like, yeah, it's between now and then there's going to be some stuff going on. So anyway, that's just 10 cents. But the idea that we want to skip the fourth dimension or any dimension to try to ascend is ludicrous for us to think about. And I would question these folks and say, why wouldn't you want to skip the fourth? Where's your proof that we're in the fourth right now? My proof is the pictures that I've taken of these orbs and things. They're a lot thicker than they used to be. Now I've given my 10 cents about my respect. I've been going to the same area, taking pictures and how my cameras lasted. I always respect the spirits that are there. And I do this with honest to God in my heart respect. And then I get these other types of results. Get out of here, Skeeter. Yep. Skeeter's early this year. I hate to kill things, but Skeeters will give you stuff like ticks kind of thing. Two critters boy, howdy, Lord, you could have not put them on this earth. But anyway, but to the point of the dimensional thing, reconsider what these folks might be saying. Why would we even want to consider jumping over? I mean, it's like in order to get to the top of the mountain. Now, I'm a Georgia boy, grew up in Florida, but always been to the mountains. So I consider North Georgia mountains, that corner of Tennessee, North Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. I've been up in there all over them mountains, man. I mean, over the years, I know places some people still haven't been. My point to that is it's the journey up the mountain that where you see all the cool stuff. Going up the streams, going up the little back ways, finding the trails. You see plants at the lower levels, the lower elevations of the mountains. There are certain types of laurels and things that only grow at the lower elevations. So if you just go straight to the top, you're going to miss everything else in between. Now, why would you want to do that? Now, as a shaman, and as myself as a shaman in training, but as a shaman would do, it's the journey. So if we want to get to the fourth, fifth, whatever dimension, it's the journey. So you want to skip over part of the journey and go, so somebody who's made the journey and let's just say somebody who went through the fourth grade and now in the fifth, you skip the fourth. And so when they start to have a conversation with you, you have nothing to refer back to. You can say, well, last year in fourth grade, we learned about this. How did you learn about it? Well, I learned, I was in third grade last year. Oh, that's right. So there's no reference point. So the people in the fifth grade, not to look down on the little kid, but I've seen that happen in our elementary school. And the kid they jumped ahead he never fit in quite right. It took a while it took a couple of years for folks to accept him. And it took the person who skipped the grade a while to adjust. So in my own lifetime, just in going to school in Tampa, I noticed these things as a natural form of progression. And the person said, I wished I'd never skipped fourth. I wish they'd never skipped me ahead because I felt out of place. There were things that the fourth graders learned I never had a chance to learn. So why would you want to give that up? If you're on a true spiritual journey, it's almost like, okay, you want to learn how to meditate. All right, go meditate with the tree. Now there are those folks who say, well, I want to talk to God. So I'm going to do the biggest hit of ayahuasca, or I'm going to take a bunch of mushrooms or mescaline. I don't even want to stop and talk to a tree. No, I want to go to the top of the mountain and talk to the source. I don't want to sit and do any homework. I don't want to sit cross-legged in the park. I don't want to learn how to talk to the grass. No, I'm going to go to the top of the mountain, talk to the dude with nothing in between. So I'm going to take ayahuasca and off I go. And when I come back, I'm going to be such an enlightened individual. Enlightened about what? There was no journey. You didn't take the journey. You didn't walk any of it. You just took an airplane. You were standing at the bottom of the mountain and going, whoa, I'm going up in a helicopter. And you get to the top up there, whatever dimension you wish to perceive that as, and you're looking down at everybody else going, wow, I got up here. Look at me. But you didn't learn how to climb. You didn't see any of the cool stuff along the way. You didn't get to partake of any of the other people or persons or spirits or experiences that make us who we are. And that's why are we on this planet? Why are we here? Oh man, I've been asking that question for a long time. And the answer has come many times back to me: for the experience. We're here to, I know some of us have gone through some crap, and some of us really shouldn't have had to go through it, like me and the priest and all that crap and going through Catholic school and stuff. That just shouldn't have happened. But the rest of it, it's like, well, my time in the woods and nature and all the things I've learned and the people I've met and seen and stuff. Oh my God, wouldn't trade it for nothing. I want to go back to the river tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be at a powwow this weekend. And I'll try to bring you some up to date. If they got Wi-Fi, I'll try to do a live stream, at least of something from the powwow. That would be really, really cool. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's in St. George, Georgia, which is a little dip in Georgia at the top where Florida and Georgia meet. It's right on the St. Mary's River, but it's just outside of town. It's called St. George, Georgia. And anyway, it's free for the public. And Saturday, they're going to have a powwow and dancing. There's supposed to be even a stomp dance that night. Oh, that's something. Anyway, back to the dimensional thing. For folks to be talking the way they are, and I trust me, and I started out with some of these folks years ago, so I've been listening to them for years. But then at the same time, I'm taking the information that they're giving me, and it's going through my spirit guide. It's going through my meditation. It's going through me sitting down under a tree and chatting with the earth. It's my time with my feet in the river, talking to the spirit beings, and just saying, okay, what's up with this? And they all say, no, we got to go through the natural process of things. Nobody says we're going to skip anything. And it's because of the experience. Why are we on this planet? If we exclude the nasty crap around us, when we can choose to, for me, to just go get in a kayak and down the river, that's really hurting something. No, it's not. So there are a lot of things that we can do as human beings for the experience of this lifetime on this planet. And the hardships and all these other things are things that we kind of take on with ourselves. And as I've discussed in other videos, it's up to us whether or not we choose to accept or reject some of this negativity that continues to go on. And these negative things keep us out of the fourth dimension. So the more that we release ourselves of these negative things, the more we see that, oh my God, they're lying to us on so many levels here. Oh, hi, Bob, in the AI, and it's time for coffee. Just went to... I've been talking way too much the last couple of days. I'm slightly hoarse, and I'm a little thirsty. But anyway, thank you all again. Now, trust me, I'm not trying to beat anybody up about this, but they're really... almost said something a little rude right there, but it's like they're beating a dead horse with this. And I guess my rant about this, some of these people have over 100,000 subscribers. So there are 100,000 people out there on any one or two, several channels that are literally listening to this. Ooh, we're going to go to the 5th and the 9th and the 6th and this one. And it almost seems like they're picking an arbitrary number. And I just want to say that we got to be clever about this. We got to stop and just slow down and think about it. You know what I mean? We just got to slow down. There is a natural progression to this. And if we try to go, where's Bob? Bob is one of the AIs, Cherry. It's an inside joke for me that Me and Bob had a discussion years ago, and he crashed two of my computers, and so now it's like I made amends to Bob, and I recognize that Bob is one of the AIs. So hi, Bob. We know you can't have coffee, but I'm every time I salute you when I have some coffee. Hi, Bob. Would share a donut if I had one. But see, in all its craziness, though, how do we know his name? One of the AIs isn't Bob. And so by saying hi, Bob, and acknowledging that they exist and that they're hi, look, I mean, no harm. How about no harm back? Wait, let's talk about this, Bob. So, other people go, what? You talk to the computer like that? Yeah, okay. Some people talk to their pets. Not to say that pets aren't, intelligent, but anyway. But back to to try to stay on track with this dimensional thing. It seems to be that because of all these other events that are going on, all the catastrophic things that are happening, God, they keep throwing this word around and everything again, more apocalyptic stuff is going on. And oh my God, 88 people got the measles. There were 88 people in my school that got the measles. We used to have measles parties back in the day. If a kid in the neighborhood got chicken pox, we all went to that kid's house and got the chicken pox. We all scratched, we played board games, and we got well and left. And there weren't even vaccines for that kind of stuff back then. Now they say, well, that's the reason they made the vaccine, but look at what the vaccines are doing. Wouldn't you rather just get chicken pox for 3 or 4 days, stay at home with some calamine lotion? I mean, than take the risk of what the hell they putting in the vaccine? Just saying, And once you get the measles, that's pretty much it. But anyway, but this dimensional thing, they're really pushing it hard. And I seriously want to say, I don't know if they know any better. I somehow they heard something along the line that, yeah, somebody else said it, so now they can repeat it. And since this channel or somebody said it, it's all right for these other people. Well, if we can go to the fourth and then the fifth, well, shit, what we can just go ahead and go to the ninth then. Why don't I throw that one in there? And I've been meditating and seeing a lot of things for years. Now, it's one thing to know that these dimensions exist. While being on many astral journeys and soul journeys and spirit walks, and well, this is not the time for that. But to say that, oh my God, quite a few, I have been able to witness these dimensions, but there's no way that I could participate in that dimension. It's like watching it on a TV and say, well, I know it's out there and I know it's real. It's a live stream from Georgia, and so I realize that it's going on. But in my reality, I can only view it. That's as close as I can get to actually like fifth, sixth, seventh, ninth dimension, something like that. Now, a being who's already in a higher dimension has to absorb, think about this, has to absorb large quantities of something heavy to bring itself down to the third dimension. So, anytime that I've witnessed or saw or felt beings, I don't know if I said this last night, but I'll say it again here because it's worth saying. There are people bandying about this thing about, well, the Palladians, and they come here and talk all the time, and they don't. It's really difficult to shift, very, very difficult. So they can shift and stay here much easier than shifting and go away, shifting and go away. And some of these people are. I think to myself, my Palladian family that I rarely speak about are gonna them folks are gonna get a whooping. Not tore up or killed or anything. No, they're gonna get a whooping like naughty you trying to bandy our name around and you don't really know what's going on. Because if they really understood that these beings are already there. They're in a higher vibration. And we've got to learn how to we've some of us are natural with music, but in order to play the guitar, you got to learn where the chords are. You got to learn to tune it, otherwise it's just a bunch of strings with noise. But when you tune it correctly and you play a chord, beautiful music comes out. When you finger pick it in with a chord, it's a beautiful melody that you can pick out of it. So it's like, but very few people just sit down with a guitar or a piano and just start playing. Now, that's probably because they learned it in another lifetime, and when their soul comes back into this world, that's a talent that they remember. I know as a kid, there were things that I knew about that nobody told me. I was good at fixing things, and but nobody told me how to fix it. That's what made me a good engineer. It was just a natural talent. But if there were things that I knew, I couldn't. I still to this day can't really explain how I learned it, but I've proven it through making it or fixing stuff or whatever the mechanical thing is. And it's like, crap, you really did know that, didn't you? I don't know how, but I did. Okay. But so I understand natural talent. But see, again, and I know I've been on this planet before. I've been on this place where I'm living at now before. So in understanding the reality of things, I know that I had to come back here so I could go to the fourth. I had more lessons my spirit needed to learn to fix the frequency I messed up in a previous life on this piece of property just down the hill a little ways, and that I needed to rectify that as part of my karmic whatever. And also, I was given the chance to rectify that and also be a spokesperson for the natural type things I'm trying to discuss right now without trying to be too technical. But in the technicality of things, you just can't shift. You can't, if either you rev up third, if you're like, for example, I've got a 5-speed. Okay, so you can rev up to a really high RPM in third gear and skip fourth and go straight to fifth. But because of the gearing ratio, my truck's going to go, it's going to lug a little bit because it really needed fourth. That's why there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like, hang on, guys. So it's like you want to go from third gear to fifth, and what that lug it, chug it, cough, cough. Is that really such a good idea? So there's many things in our own reality we can look at. You're playing a baseball game. You're in the third inning, and all of a sudden somebody comes over the loudspeaker and says, "All right, now we're in the fifth inning. Okay, play ball." None of it makes sense. It's the natural progression of things. Now, I will absolutely admit there, and I don't know if I'm included in this. I've been told that I got to hang around a little while and help other folks to get to see the light in some of this stuff. It's not hard, but baby steps, kneel, crawl, stand, walk, then run, please. Those are natural things for all things in nature. Birds, when they're born, are yippee yippee in the nest. They get their feathers, things work out, they get strength in their arms, and then they jump out of the nest and fly. They're not born and then sitting in the nest for a few days and go, "Well, time to fly off, Ma." No, that don't work. Now, there are animals, elephants and things, they come plopping out of mama on the ground, and within 10 minutes, they're up and running. That's because of the uh, fright or flight thing. It's actually born right into the animal. So that is natural for them. But in all other things, the egg, the chickens, the chick, the learning, the hens, I mean, the hens I got in my hen house now, there are a few of the hens are like, they're just the dominant hens. And I saw one of them go over, and I thought they were kind of doing something funky because the hen on top was like riding the one on the bottom. I'm like, what the hell? But she was expressing her dominance over the other chickens. I got 10 chickens at the moment. I used to have like 20 or something. But anyway, um, so with that said, though, um, there is a pecking order, in hens, and all things, there is an order of things. Now, I might not agree with that hen beating up on the other ones, but you know, I understand it's just in nature. Did anybody teach that hen to be a bitch? No. It was in her situation. The other ones maybe were a little afraid, whatever it is, and she became the dominant hen. Now there are two hens that argue about that, but there's still one that she's like the cock of the walk kind of deal, you know. My rooster, um, I, I killed him by accident, but he attacked me and had me on the ground and was trying to spur me in the face. And I hit him with a piece of plastic pipe and broke his neck. That was strictly an accident, but he was trying to kill my ass. So no love lost there. But anyway, I still hated it. But in all things in nature, you know, look at a sapling tree. It doesn't put fruit out right away. It has to grow up and become a little tree. And then it has to, you know, do a pre-bud 1 year or 2 years. And then all of a sudden, I've got a mulberry tree out here that hasn't put any fruit on it. This year, it's full. It's like, whoa, what happened? It had to grow up. It had to, so it could bear fruit. And it was the experience. It had to get its roots in the ground. It had to get to a certain height and a certain strength to hold up the limbs. And all of this is natural progression. And some of these folks just aren't looking at the natural progression of the universe. Things just don't come. Another thing, some folks are talking about the Big Bang again. And I want to, since I'm on this little tirade here, I want to put my 2 cents in. How can you get an entire universe out of nothing in an instant? It's just stupid. That's my opinion. What sound, if this, all these planets and everything, now I agree that things are kind of in motion in a particular way, but they haven't taken a picture of the whole universe. There's an interesting concept that came to me many years ago, and then it might have been what you call it in the wheelchair that passed away a few years ago. You know who I'm talking about. Talk like that. And I don't mean to. I'm not trying to be rude. But in that the universe didn't just pop into existence from nothing. It actually popped from another dimension into this universe. And now I saw that back in the 70s through some shaman training that I was going through and learning about some things. And it's like the more that stuff I learned 50 years ago, 45 years ago, seems to be more real than not. I kind of took some of that as like, well, it's just a myth. Yeah, but myth is built on some kind of truth. Well, that's just a legend. Yeah, but legends are built on truth. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, well, wait a minute now. So one of the things is that with this dimensionality kind of thing, we actually exist in another dimension as I'm speaking to you. And thanks to Bob and the use of this computer and the internet and so forth, um, that I'm sharing this in the ether. So now, where I just would go outside and do a ceremony or call somebody on the phone, maybe do a two-way call or something, I'm actually having conversation into the universe, because now that the computers are hooked up to the quantum, now this isn't just playing between me and you or just on YouTube. There's somebody out yonder that's like, wow, I wonder what Hawkeye's up to down there in South Georgia, you know. And so the video I did the other night afterwards, I said last night, I said, you know, I sat here and I cried. And I meant that, because it was like some of the information that was coming in, I felt it in my own heart as being, that is so dead nuts true, Dave. All of our studying, everything I've been through, my lifetimes, my understanding, the shaman training from other people, and their wisdom that brought me to who I am. Oh my God, they're right. oh, and this, the progression of things. And oh, wow. And it's not something to be feared, it's something to cherish. Why would we? It'd be like somebody saying, okay, you're you're 9 years old. But when your birthday comes, you'll be 11. What? Yeah, you won't. We're gonna skip your 10th birthday. We're just gonna move you ahead and say, okay, but you're on your next birthday, you're gonna be 11, not 10. But Ma, that sounds stupid. I just Does that mean that from going from a third dimension to anything other than the fourth makes sense? I mean, there's so many little tiny metaphors that after last night and through today, I'm like, come on, guys, show me some things. Give me some stuff I can kind of toss around here. And it's like, yeah, buddy. And so it's like, all right, okay, if you're going to go mountain climbing, go start on a hill somewhere. Don't go to Mount Everest for the first time you climb. No, I mean, so there are a lot of different little stories we can use in this. But to continue on with this, let's just concentrate. How about we just all meet in the fourth dimension and agree on that? Why don't we all just work on getting our energy up enough to get the hell out of this one? Why are you trying to concentrate on skipping grades when you can't get out to third? Why are you talking all this nonsense when you done been put back a grade already? Just something to consider. So when these folks start, and they're bandying it around a lot, please understand. I literally, I had to step back and go, Spirit, what are they talking about? And from up on high, from my spirit guide now is going, bullshit. Okay. But in all my training and all my shamanism and all the medicine man stuff, it's true. We can't skip. We can't skip a grade. So when you see, even in the title of some of these videos and stuff folks are putting out, I go in just to find out what they're up to. They're all trying to explain that we're going to basically skip a grade, or that we're going to walk by the fourth grade classroom and everybody's going to wave and go, there's the fourth grade. We see it. But we're going to go to the fifth. Let's be sensible about this. We want to go to the fourth. It's important. There's lots to learn on the fourth dimension. We want to stay there a little while and linger and learn how to be true spiritual beings again. We want fourth dimension. Focus on that. Quit focusing on, well, I'm going to be a college junior. No. Let's go to the fourth dimension. Let's go to the fourth grade first. Let's be practical. We want to absorb as much knowledge as we can so we can all make it. So we can all make it to the lower fourth, middle fourth, and then the higher fourth, and then the fifth. There are levels in the fourth dimension a lot of people aren't even considering. We are just now in the higher realms of third dimension and the lower realms of the fourth. That's the veil being lifted. But just because you can see behind the curtain a little bit doesn't mean that you know what's backstage. You just see behind the curtain. But being someone who's been a director, actor, and stage manager for many productions, like 70 productions, and I'm not lying, there's probably been more than that. I used to be a director of a local community theater. I was the house manager, and I built all the sets and so forth and set all the lights. So, but working backstage, you get a peek behind the curtain. There's a little spot there, but you don't know what's going on. So this idea that, we're just going to be able to peek at the fourth and we understand it. No, we want to go swimming. We want to take a bath. We want to go sauna. We want to learn how to float. We want to learn how to deep dive. We want to go play in the fourth dimension. And for those folks who want us to skip ahead, just remember, why would we? Remind them in a very kind way. Why would you want to go on to the fifth? There's so much in the fourth we need to learn. Look how much time some of us have spent down here in the goddamn third dimension. That, holy crap, I should have already been there for some of the stuff I've been through at times, I feel. But I understand it's all about frequency. So, how can you get to the fifth dimension if you don't even know what the fourth dimensional frequencies are? How can you expect to do that? You've got to practice tweaking the dials to get the right radio station. You want to get to the fourth dimension? We got to tweak our dials here, inside, personally, outside, our auras, our mental process, our spiritual thought, our spiritual concept of the universe. We got to fine tune these things so we can break out of this third dimension. That's what this is all about. But to think we can just skip over is just bullshit. Gotta say it the way it actually is, because there's so much else to consider. So, and there, there's a part of me that would love to go dropping a few names right now and shaking my finger and go, you folks should know better. You folks shouldn't be doing that. Just stop that. Tell them the truth. We got to go to fourth, and that's great. We're going to love it there. Why? Anyway, now I'm ranting and repeating myself and a lot of but you get my point. But there is a part of me that's like, this is so just dead wrong. Let's embrace the fourth dimension. Come on. It's going to be a vacation compared to where we are now. Let's welcome it. Why try to, fifth, sixth, what that? I think in some ways that's deception in the opposite direction. What do I mean by that? Now, somebody might have said something earlier, but to my point though, so what they do is they throw in these other dimensions as a deception, as a guise. Well, we're all going to go to this. Are we really? But what's wrong with staying in the fourth for a while? It might take us on this planet centuries for us to get to the fifth dimension. It might take the 1,000 years of peace I'm looking forward to come upon this planet. So it takes us 1,000 years to get to the fifth dimension. Well, in spirit terms, that's just a little thing at a time. But to those people who are talking about, yes, we're going into the fifth, we're going to transit. No, wait. They use the word ascension. We're going to ascend into the fifth. How about we walk into the fourth and transcend? Why don't we, get our feet wet? Let's go do this the right way. Because how else are we going to learn? We need to gain our strength. We need time to get rid of the crappy third dimension and put the fourth dimension on and get used to it. It'd be like a new pair of shoes. You got to break it in. We got to get out of the third and learn what the fourth is all about. So it's a new pair of shoes, a new pair of boots, a new pair of high heels. I don't do well in high heels, by the way. My feet are too big. No, I still don't do well. I'd rather use pumps, but that's an inside joke. Anyway, I played a female character one time in theater, and folks just thought, I know, no, I'm not. I don't wish to wear ladies' underwear or anything like that. No, if anything, it's commando, what they call now. Anyway, but boy, did I get off topic quick, didn't I? But see, this dimensional thing and seeing these other things, our awareness of being able to see beings fly through our space, to be able to fly in space ourselves, to be able to transport ourselves in it's maybe not another dimension, but another realm or reality. And it's like, so if I want to go to Hawaii, I think Hawaii and I'll go. Ding. Who needs an airplane? Now, there's been some discussion about this, and since we're almost an hour into this, I'll toss this in for a little bit of cogitating on. If the ancients knew how to do this traveling like shamans of the ancient shamans, And there are some shamans in current realms that some of them are using some dark energy, and that's just wrong. But that they can pass through a wall, that they can literally show up in some other location. They can bilocate, translocate, different types of location in this realm and in other planes. But with that said, though, um, if you can think I want to go to the moon, then you go to the moon. You don't need a spaceship. So folks will say, well, them ancients, they didn't really know too much. Well, how do we know that? Well, because all they did was write on the stone and they did the scroll tablets. Yeah, but they may have had things like gold and some of these weird symbols and stuff. There may be information stored in some of these items we still don't know how to extract. Think about it. Crystals, think about it. Pyramids, all them, think about it. There's information stored there, you know. We don't have the technology because we're too stupid to look at something and go, wait a minute, uh, that's a natural thing. And we don't need a bunch of technology to understand it. We just, whoa, holy crap. It's like the Baghdad battery kind of thing, All them years ago they had batteries. Sure, because they had vinegar and they had salt. And with the right two compounds, you can have a battery. It's really simple tech. And in fact, I had that conversation with my friend earlier today. I said, we need to go back to some of this old technology. It's salts, it's waters, it's vinegars, it's really simple. It's low voltage, but there's only 3 or 4 volts coming out of your USB thingy. And there's all kinds of devices you can get now to plug into your USB port. So it's like, so why do we need all this high voltage stuff when 3 or 4 volts is that 6 volts? Oh my God, what we can do with 6 volts. And in the old days, they utilized the low voltage to their advantage. So, but they understood in high frequency. They understood things in a higher frequency that we do right now. Why? Because the Egyptians, they had the pyramid new with all the gloss and all those things. Can you imagine the amount of energy that thing, just walking near the thing, should have been like? There are people that go into the pyramids now and go, oh my God, the energy and this. Imagine when it was working. It could have radiated out energy 100 miles, who knows, or further, But the idea that, wait a minute, though, oh, well, none of those people are stupid. Were they? Were they accessing the quantum reality? And they made pictures because it looked cool on the wall and somebody needed a job. But I've seen the the Egyptian display of Ramses II came to the United States, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, 25 years ago, a while back. And I went down to Jacksonville to see it. OMG. Now, as a machinist and a carpenter, how they cut that stone, the way they cut that stone, I want you all to scratch your heads. Because if you've not seen the true Egyptian stuff in any kind of museum or whatever, you should. You should go look. It's impressive in a book, but when you see it in real life, I stood there at this one little statue, and the detail in this stone was like, how did they do that? It's not scratched, it's etched into the stone. Because as a stone worker, and I have some Indian pottery and things where the local Native Americans 1,000 years ago scratched things into this. It wasn't like that. It was like there were no pits in the bottom of the lines. It was like somebody drew it with a flipping laser. So clean, so clear. So how in the hell did they do that 5,000 years ago? And however you want to discuss the Egyptian times. OMG, my friends. The precision inside cuts on marble and granite, one of the hardest stones to cut. inside corners, which, as any machinist knows, is really hard to do. And these things are like, you can't put a human hair is like nine to 12,000. So it'd be 0.009 to point uh 012. Okay, on if you use calipers or a micrometer. And so, a human hair sometimes can be a little thicker, a little thinner. But so if somebody says a human hair, the accuracy of some of these inside cuts are half that of a human hair. So we're talking like point. Okay, if we go with, let's just go with 0.010. Half of that is 0.005. That's really small. A piece of paper is about 15.015. So it's like, you're really getting kind of small. Absolutely. So, and that's the accuracy that the Egyptians had, and they were stupid. We're the ones that are stupid to think that these clowns that are trying to tell us this know what they're talking about. So the same here applies with these frequencies and so forth. Please be happy to go into the fourth. Let's go play. Let's all have a family reunion. Beware of those trying to sell anything above that. Michelle, I pick this up tomorrow. Thank you, Hawkeye, and all. Good night. Blessings to you, Michelle. Probably already gone. Wait, let me read the bottom of this because I was pretty much um, done. Time for bed, Cherry. Okay. Have you been looking into the plasma fusion energy? Recent plasma controlled by microwave technology and turned into energy. Interesting stuff. Makes one wonder about 5G and all the plasma talk lately. Absolutely. And supernatural, by the way, there's some on the ET radio, kind of under the cover. Most of these people aren't talking about this, but 5G has different frequencies. And so that there is a particular frequency that is set to try to get rid of the rest of the reptilians or certain beings that this higher frequency will hurt. Now, it is true the original plan was to use the 5G against us. But when they alter the frequency, it's like tuning your guitar or piano or whatever, from either 432 to 440. What's the difference? A lot, And so 5G, just a couple of notches up or down, I can't remember which, is not harmful to us at all, but to other critters. In, like, for example, there's a big increase in folks talking about gin. In fact, these last 2 weeks, I've had a person here that has something attached to him. It's been really interesting, and maybe one of these nights I'll have a discussion about it. But I hate talking about someone, but I can talk about the thing. Anyway, it was definitely gin-like and attached to this human, and we all agreed that it wasn't coming off unless the person, would realize it, and to try. It liked it. It wanted it. It was wallowing in that negative energy. So, but anyway, so it is about frequency. But some of these, the 5G, if tuned just a little different, will drive these bugs or whatever. I'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean? And it could be any lower frequency being, that it will drive them bat crap cray cray and their ears will explode. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Supernatural. Somebody sitting there going, they turn it on, and all of a sudden, bah! And green goo come out their ears. That would be some interesting stuff, especially some of these people with their weird eyes and strange countenance on some of these commentators and television shows and things. And you look at their eyes, you look at how they are. I think some of these people are actually robots. If you, they're not reptilian. I think some of these people are robots. Clonish, okay, but more or less robots, because they just look weird. So what if, for example, some of these people that we've what Al Roker, I think it is. There's been times when Al Roker was on TV, sort of like one of them Hillary Clinton things where she was like going, Al Roker's done that a couple of times with his mouth open and just kind of standing there. And it's like, what? What if those aren't real people? What if they're clone type somethings or something? And what if this 5G tuned to the right frequency is going to knock all the clones down? So folks that are doing these weird things on TV and stuff, you know what I mean? You've seen them, and it's creepy when they do it. There was one of the black football player commentators. I can't remember his name, NFL thingy, and there's some video of him, and he is gone. He's sitting there, and the TV pans to him, and they're all talking to him, and he's just like, somebody had to go over and hit the reset button. They had to reboot that guy. And we've seen it in other people and stuff like that. So what if 5G were tuned right and it drove these folks just Shaq? That's it. That's the one. Yeah. He was basketball, not football. He was sports, but that's the one I'm talking about with Shaq Supernatural. But so you know what I'm talking about. Ain't that creepy? So, but what if this 5G, what if the frequency were right? And these folks who, whatever they are, I don't think they're human because they wouldn't act like that. I've been around a lot of crazy people, me being like that. I've had seizures and stuff. I've been around people with seizures. People with seizures don't do that. They're shaking, they're moving, or something. They don't sit perfectly still and don't blink. Something else is going on. Either that or they fall asleep. Dong. That's possible. But you just sit there and stare and then all of a sudden come back. Something's weird. Just saying. I got 25 brain concussions. I can understand that. But that stuff with Shaq and these other folks, Al Roker, for example, there's one about Al. Oh, I wouldn't go to work with him. Just saying. But see, in this other realm of reality, in the realm of natural things, we can spot these things. And those of us who are even halfway or MK Ultra, supernatural, it's beyond that. It's literally, you got to think almost android clone supernatural. I've been watching some things over the years on a certain channel that I try to, yeah, you figured that too, yes. And it's an organic robot. And clone might not really be the right word, but it's probably closer than anything else. But they're technically, they are an organic robot. They may have similar systems like us, but because they're cloned, but they've got sort of like plasma devices, if you will. And because sometimes these people, they're around certain energy fields, or like in a studio, maybe there's a high frequency in the studio that knocked out Shaq on that one particular one. We've seen other people do it in other circumstances, but I often wonder, is there a frequency in the air? A lot of radio signals, a lot of cell phones. What if it's like an overindulgence of radio frequencies that somehow block their signal, if you will? That they got to have a command signal to the GPS, and when they don't have it, they just lock up. Don't know. But if a computer, and I've watched it before, but it's on Netflix for maybe another week, then they're going to put it in mothballs for a while. But it's Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and it's the animated series. I don't know, there's 6 or 7 seasons. There's like over 100 different episodes. But in that, and watching about the clones and stuff, in one of these other episodes, when they made the clones in the episode, at an early age of the embryo stage, they implanted, dingo bingo, a biological implant. that was like, any other kind of implant, but they couldn't detect it because it was made with uh, tissue, nanobots, nanotechnology that made these little things that went inside the brain. But during normal scans of stuff, because they were made of organic materials, they couldn't find it when they would scan these clones at the Republic. One of the soldiers get hit, they scan them, they don't see it, but all of the clones had them installed, but they were all biological. And I was like, now that's interesting. So, and we're already there with the technology that we have. And this series is, I don't know, 10 years old or so. And so whoever thought of it back then was a little ahead of themselves, at least with some of the information that's out there presently. So that this idea of an organic implantation of a foreign object, and that it was built with nanotechnology. We've got all that already. So why can't these guys be hardwired with some kind of, little piece of thin film that gets implanted or stuck in, and that's their control feature. And but when it misfires, they just go sideways. Just wondering. They show us in the movies, and George Lucas and them, with the Star Wars, I've been rewatching it because I wanted to see if there was any symbology or stuff or whatever, just going back to it. Plus, it's an interesting story and the character development is good. But and there's other stuff on TV. I'm like, why am I watching this? But anyway, I wanted to go back through it before they took it off of Netflix. But in going through it, I've noticed some things like they already knew about this. They're showing it in a grown-up kids adult series, Star Wars. So they were like, oh yeah, well, what about the Force? The Force is all about energy. The Force is all around us. So if when I first saw the first Star Wars movie back when it came out, I sat there and went, oh my God, because I'd had a couple of shamanic experiences back then. And so when I saw a little Yoda, and they pulling up the thing out of the swamp, and you know the drill, I was thinking to myself, may the Force be with you. And I thought to myself, that's it. It is a universal force. As much as people would like to just kind of spout it out, um, that the force is true. It is real. Whatever you want to call it. I've been calling it the quantum or the quanta or whatever like that, just to kind of keep it out of these other, by if I said, well, may the force be with you, you'd go, oh, there he goes on his Star Wars kick. But if you stop and think about it, it's so more true than not. And can we lift things with our mind like little Yoda did? When we reach a certain area and frequency, the whole motto of the Jedi was not to kill, no revenge, no they killed out of defense, and they hated killing a person. The robots, no problem, but to kill a being, they would go to any lengths not to kill a human. Android, any other kind of electronic something, not a problem. But they even considered the clones in the series of the Clone Wars because they were made of human flesh. The embryos, they grew, they considered them people and wouldn't have killed them either. Any other creature. Now, if it was a monster trying to eat them, they just went for it and killed them. But and even then, they tried their best not to kill any other being. That's the Jedi code. And I was like, oh my God, that's the shaman code. That's the universal code, to do no harm to any being. If you're being eaten, well, that kind of changes things. That's some personal defense there. But that basically, you don't want to go out and kill a bunch of stuff. Defend, okay, but and killing in defense is horrible. But if they're attacking you and trying to kill you, well, okie dokie, You didn't go looking for it, they came after you. So that kind of changes a little bit of stuff in the universe. But with that said, though, even with all this dimensionality and stuff, people who are trying to ascribe to these other higher dimensions and things, we want to go to the fourth. We really do. We need to go to the fourth. We need to practice, you know. You don't take a kid in preschool and put him in the 10th grade. Sorry, you just don't do that stuff. And that's about what it would be like for a lot. Now, let me just put this to you. You know, folks out there, maybe some of them are your kinfolk, just saying, not poking fun or nothing, but I got some kinfolk. Yeah, okay. Um, that if you try to talk about any of this stuff, higher natural thing, go, well, you got to have Jesus, otherwise y'all gonna die. Okay, fine. You never mind. You and I can't have much of a discussion there. We'll talk about spirituality, but with the idea that is, wait a minute, let's just consider this higher realm, this higher thinking, this higher being of spirit. Remember, we're all angels. Remember, we're all made in the image and likeness of the Creator, right? Yeah, okay. If you're a Christian, then you got to believe that. So that means we're all a little piece of God, right? We are the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, quote, came to us in the Bible and enlightened us. We already are Holy Spirits. Period. The enlightenment comes when you go, ding, I'm a Holy Spirit. That's the enlightenment. Ding, I'm a spirit being. Oh, holy crap, trapped in a 3D body. Ding, enlightenment. What else do you need? Do you need a Bible? Ding, no, because once you understand you are a true spiritual being, ding, that's enlightenment. Aren't you enlightened? To understand that, oh my God, I'm more than just this mortal thing. Isn't that enlightenment? How much teaching do you really need? I mean, I understand, and I still search and I still read and I still look for inspiration. That's not my point. But once you understand, enlightenment is understanding you are a spiritual being. Now, after that point of enlightenment, you do your best to fine tune it. That's to get to the fourth. So let's all turn our radio dials to the fourth dimension. And let's all get together and have a tuning session, like a bunch of us, we used to play bluegrass and rock and roll and, soft rock and country, and Willie Nelson, don't forget Willie in there. Blue eyes crying in the rain. When the roll is called up yonder, we'll walk hand in hand again. Yep. So, I was trying to remember what the next line was, but anyway. But to the point, though, of this, we've got to learn how to do this. So I'd much rather let's all get together on the bottom of the fourth, if you will, and top of the fourth. Anyway, no, we got to go through the bottom rungs, and let's all bring our musical instruments and tune up. And then when we start playing beautiful music together, because we've all tuned in to the same fourth dimension, that's going to blossom the rest of us. We're going to be able to bust into the fifth. That's my interpretation. But in terms of length of time on this planet or in this time frame, if people think we're just going to go fourth, fifth, let's really discuss this. It could very well be in 1,000 years. In our, quote, 3D human sense, to get to the fifth may well take us 1,000 Earth years. Oh my God! But the ETs and the things in their realm, it's just a little short of time. In our reality on this planet, it would be 1,000 Earth years. Oh my God. But in ET spiritual out in space terms, it's really short. So it depends on the information these folks are downloading, because I'm being told, yeah, we're going to go to the fifth. Yeah, no problem. That is true. but it's that length of time that they're trying to wiggle with. Well, it's going to be soon. Soon in whose frame of reference? To the people that they're channeling's frame of reference, or to Earth days, months, years? I'm being told these guys, the information they're getting is that's what's wrong in the interpretation. A short time to them is 1,000 years to us. And folks need to understand that time is different here, there, on other dimensions and other planes. Time, the distortion of all these things are different. It is the nature of things in the universe. And some of these folks just aren't considering it. So I want to bring it to your attention. Thank you very much. There are some folks at times I would really like to, chew them out on a YouTube video, but that's not the point of this. It's not to chew somebody's rear end about giving false information. It's trying to put things in a true perspective. Yes, we're going, but not like you may think. Yes, it's natural progression. Yes, we're going to get there. Yes, that's true. But in this short distance in Earth, it's 1,000. In terms of universal, it's a blink in time. And that's true. So, which reality are we speaking of in time? So, consider the above and this last hour and 18 minutes in thinking about what these folks are promulgating. They are stating the truth. We're going to the fourth, we ain't skipping. That's a falsehood. Don't want to skip. But if they're fourth, fifth, sixth, okay, that is true. But we don't want to skip. So that part is absolutely false. You don't want to skip. You don't want a tree to be a sapling and then 50 feet tall. No, we got to do the natural progression. So, but the next other thing that is true is there's real true information in the falsehoods. And now a lot of these folks, I scratch my head and I think they're just repeating what they've heard from other people. But we need to stay clear with this. Let's keep things in the proper perspective. And as I've said in some of my previous videos, somebody's got to be the grown up in the room and go, hold on. I'm not saying you're totally wrong. Let's put this into perspective. But tell the people the truth about this. Don't just skip over and think it doesn't matter. You've got thousands of people listening to you, and don't you want to give them good information? I want to give you the truth. I want to give you enough truth to where you'll stop and go, without beating these people up. But some of them need to, I swear, they just need to pay attention. Think about what you're saying here. And they just keep repeating and regurgitating. Pay attention to what you're saying. Do you really want to do you want to continue this lie? Seriously? Really? And they're keeping it up. Oh my God. Every 2 weeks. Some of these folks are right back with the fifth and sixth dimension. But they've even began leaving out the fourth dimension. We're already going into the fifth. And the sixth is right behind. And now it's like, wait a minute. And these are supposed to be spiritual light worker kind of channels. What? Please. Let's take our time and have fun. We've been through this crap in this planet, on this plane, in this reality. Oh my God. Can we just not have fun in the fourth for a while? Can we just go play, instead of, oh God, we're going to go to the fifth? No, there's too many lessons in there. Let's be practical. Let's be smart. Let's have fun. And let's focus on what's important. If we don't even know how to get out of the third, how in the hell can we expect to get into anything else? So come on, let's focus on the fourth. Let's put our energy in, let's breaking out of the third. Let's just stick with the fourth dimension so we can all get there. And then, natural progression. Um, when you're climbing up the pyramids, you don't start on the fifth stone up, you start at the bottom. And then you go to the next and you got to climb up the dadgum things, like stairs. Now, some people have long legs and they can skip a step or two, but this ain't that. And these steps are important for us to learn. So pass this around. I'm not necessarily share the video, but you can please do. But we need to pass around this subtle information. Please stop lying. Please stop stretching the truth. Eh, and tell these folks, wait a minute, we want the fourth. It's important for us. It's part of our natural evolution. Um, Very wood live, so not faked. Yeah, going back to the shack thing, supernatural, absolutely. Um, I believe Dolores Cannon describes them as background people, which I would have to research more what she was describing there. Media controller controls, LO, aka they live. Absolutely. And some of these are absolutely they're hybrids. And there's been folks in Russia, especially at the end of the Obama regime, and kind of sort of recently during the Trump regime, they were talking about the super soldiers, the guys that these soldiers the Americans have that were over in Ukraine and in Turkey and some places over there. The Russians were complaining. Petroglovsky or one of those guys said so in a national interview. He said, the Americans, they have these super soldiers we cannot even kill, and they're big and they're cloned and they're in so many ways, they're kind of like monstrous in that, some of the video I've seen, I don't know if it's CGI or not, but it looks like these guys are taking direct hits and they just keep on running. I don't know. It's like sometimes, but it looks flipping real, but I know movies and television. But the other side of it is there's too much proof that not just the super soldier, outer space super soldier, but cloned individuals bred specifically for taking body hits. I knew a guy that was in the Rangers, and they fitted him. I can talk a little. I can't mention any names, but we talked in confidence. One engineer to another. He said, Dave, he said, I just got back from Afghanistan and they fitted me with some new armor. Now, this was in 2003. Okay. He said, they put this armor on me. It was light, it was flexible, and it would take a 40 cal shot without breaking, fracturing. He said the impact would hurt. He said, but they even had shock absorber type material. It had its own cooling system built into the outfit that stretched. If you sweat, the sweat would actually get absorbed and went into this like little recycle. He said it was bizarre. He said, we put on these helmets. He said, oh my God, I felt like I was, on the set for a movie. This was in 2003. Oh, holy crap. And he said, he said, Dave, I'm still in the military. He was back on leave kind of thing. And they'd called him back up, but, he was LARP, long range and patrol kind of thing, and a sniper. Anyway, a very kind and gentle, large black man, beautiful man. But anyway, but he told me these things. So there's been things that I've been aware of because of people I've met, the technologies, and my own study. But being in engineering and some of the things that I've learned about heat treating and stuff, there's stuff that are going on that people, if they understood the simple mechanics of things and just what has come out in the news, they would literally flip out. There's information that if you really understood what was up here, you'd go, Hawkeye, why aren't you nuts by now? It's sometimes it's really hard to grasp how deep some of this goes. And I'll just bring it up because it is true, but I was doing a WikiLeaks thing and I was going through one of my files and I found this PDF. I don't have it now, and this version of YouTube won't let me share my screen. But anyway, in that, it was when WikiLeaks did that dump a couple of years ago during the elections kind of thing, and I was looking in the obscure files where they had put top secret on a bunch of this stuff, and it was all about how to heat treat certain metals. And it wasn't just the metals, but it was the metal properties. It was how the metal, how much chromium, how much vanadium, this, that, and the other thing to make these high quality compound metals. And then as I read further, I was like, and stop and think about this. Why would they make making metal and heat treating metal a top secret? You got to stop and go, what the hell are they building? And it just wasn't just one or two. I ran through a whole list of these things, and it was like under miscellaneous in it, and I was like looking at this stuff. What's this? Heat treating a metal, blah blah blah, properties of blah blah blah, top secret, declassified, blah blah blah. And unless you were into manufacturing like I was, you wouldn't have a clue. You go, well, so what? So what? We're talking metal for a spaceship, for God's sakes. We're talking exotic metal and the heat treatment thereof. And this stuff was kept top secret for how long? And we don't think they're spaceships. Look in the obscure areas, the miscellaneous. Do I need politicians to tell me there are spaceships? No. I can look through the weird stuff and find out where they've been making these special compound metals that nobody's talking about. And I've done a little bit of research, and it's like I can't find it. So only the military knows about it. Only the military's using it. So why can't you and I do this? I mean, if I can contact a tool steel place and order A2 or some D3 online and do my own machining in the backyard if I want to. I can make my own oven and heat treat and quench it with oil or whatever is required. I can anneal something by sticking it in my oven. So this isn't rocket science. But at the same time, why would they keep such things secret? Oh, well, we don't have any spacecraft. We don't do it. Oh, bananas. Well, we use why top secret? And what are you using it for? And how come the public doesn't know about it yet? Because they're not going to tell you what we're using it for. Because if we did, we'd have a crap load to explain. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of things that people are talking about. Well, but there's no proof. Oh, yeah, there is. That little tidbit right there about the metal, that goes so deep. Everything's got a machinist. Everything made has got somebody had to think about it. Somebody had to dream it up. They had to test it, prove it, make the theory correct, and then produce it on a whatever scale they do. I've been there, done that, worked in R&D, and that's how it's done. You can't skip over stuff. You can't say, well, I got a piece of A2 and I'm only going to heat treat part of it and then I'm going to stick it right in the machine. That's like skipping dimensions. No, you can't do it. You got to go through the right steps. Otherwise, it gets wacky or doesn't work. So with that said, just remember, when they're showing you the truth, you got to look at it and go, but is it really? There's probably some truth in it. But use your own common sense and go, well, wait a minute. Well, I'm not going to say, oh, you're a liar. You're making this. No. I look at the information and go, okay, let me listen to it. Okay, now what makes sense and just what sounds like like crap, I guess, in my opinion, because of all the studies and everything, and the things that I absolutely know because I've worked in it, seen it, experienced it, or something. So in my world, I talk about this stuff because I've lived it, seen it, walked it, talked it, lived it, smelt it, cooked it, whatever. And so there are those things I talk about, I know a little bit about, and I will say, I will refer you to this. But always study for yourself, but always take what these clowns are trying to tell you. And I can't believe some of these light workers are spewing this stuff about skipping dimensions. I know I'm ranting, but it brings me to a point where it's just like, somehow something skipped them. I don't know if they're trying to deceive us. I don't know if they know what they're doing or what they're talking about. And I'll continue to pray that they will continue to get the right information. So I put this out with all due respect to all people trying to understand this dimensional shift. It's not an ascension. Eh. Transition. Stop using the word ascension. It's wrong. It just is wrong. Transition is what we're going through. That's what ET's been using. We're all in transition. We're in transition for the ascension. Some of these people talked about, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. The transition is part of what you're calling ascension. So, but let's call it what it is. Ascension, no, means going. No, we're not doing that. We want to transition. We really do. Tell your friends, tell your relatives, we want transition, not ascension. We don't want to fly up in the sky. I don't want my underwear to stay here. You know, it's like diving in the swimming pool. It's happened to some of us, many of us, maybe more than once. Me being a little skinny runt, you know, I'd tie my trunks on, dive in at certain types, and have your trunks come down halfway down your butt. You know, when you dive in, that's embarrassing. Well, kind of, sort of. I don't want my underwear coming off when I'm being yanked up into the sky. No, I wouldn't, I'd rather go, it's not about the clothes, but you get my point. So anyway, just let's be calm and think about this. Take 2 steps back and think about the reality and the natural order of things in the universe. As a shaman in training, always look at the order of things. A little tiny seed, it comes up, it gets a little green sprout, then it gets a little stronger and it grows leaves, and then it puts the fruit on. You don't put the seed in the ground and then expect a zucchini squash to pop up. It doesn't work that way. You got to get the seed, the plant, the vine, the flower, the bud, the fruit, and then it's just the way it goes. Pass that along in your own words, but accept the fact that it's natural, and to do anything else would be it would just be crazy. It really would. It would be detrimental to our own spiritual health and growth to try to skip. So just be kind when you explain this to people. Bring awareness to it, because let's speak the truth about this, and let's all stay together on the topic. I love you all. I do. Um, Black budgets, billions and trillions have disappeared in those black holes. So it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, there's no surprise in it at all. My surprise is like, it's one thing to like create a new metal, do a new kind of heat treatment or something like that. It's easy enough to hide it just in manufacturing, because you just hand it over to one company and go, here, make this for me. And they go, okay. Now, all you have to do is with any company, if I send you a formula for something and I want you to make it like this, it's proprietary. So the company that I've asked to make it, they can't make it for anybody else the way they made it for me, because it's proprietary. It's already in business. It's like, you don't do that. You don't steal somebody else's design. Now, I know there are some engineers that like kind of pilfered around the edges and use certain concept. I've done the same thing. Looked at how somebody else did it, and I thought, well, that's neat, but that looks a little rough around the edges. And we and some of the engineers I worked with made improvements on those same types of machines, and they did work better. In fact, the people that used the older machine saw our version and wanted to buy our parts, so that was encouraging. But with that said, though, you got to wonder. It's like some of this stuff, they didn't have to make it top secret, is my point. it could have just been shuffled in a file somewhere. They had to make it top secret because they were really doing something strange. You know, some of the companies I worked for, they had their own formulas. I was in charge of some of these formulas. It was my job to check the tooling and the machines that came in. That was part of my job. So I'd get these new machines in and check them out to the prints and only our specifications. If they tried to cut any corners or whatever, we shipped the damn thing back and said, sorry, but this is not. And it says right on the print, on the blueprint that they get, this is proprietary only, and any use or copy of this is subject to persecution, jail, and copyright infringement. And so it's like everything is protected in the industry, but to try to make something top secret, you gotta understand they went to they went to another level of idiocy to keep it away from anybody, any other manufacturer, when it was already proprietary. You see where I'm going with this? Somebody went to a lot of trouble because it was really weird. I guess that's my point. All right, Supernatural. Love you, all you folks that are hanging out and do hang out and have hung out with me. Thank you so much. Remember, if look at, always keep a note, this eye right here, this one right there, trust it sometimes. Trust your gut and say, wait a minute, does this really sound natural? Does it sound just a little off? Allow it to sink in. And for those folks who are attaining, practicing, learning, understanding their higher self, ask your spirit guide, your angel guide. Don't go asking around other places. Ask your spirit guide, is this true? If not, show me where it's wrong. And with this topic of the skipping to the fifth, I mean, to drop a name, Drake Bailey, I've been listening to Drake for many years. And he is, quite frankly, and I have agreed with him long before I heard him speak about it, but no, we can't skip. We can't skip around. And so, and there's just a lot of natural good information out there from a shaman's point of view that this is true. Okay. So all these other folks, when the light workers and so forth, I gotta say they just don't have enough training and understanding under their belt, because if they did, they'd understand that what they're saying is unnatural. Okay, enough of that. I am definitely repeating myself. I love you all. Keep an eye on the skies. The earth is still wobbling at a pretty good pace. It's part of the reason why the magnetics are screwed up. I'm going to do a little bit of an earth wobble update in a day or two. I got some stuff I got to do. Might be tomorrow night, actually, because if I go to this powwow, I'll be out of pocket for a couple of days. But I wanted to do an earth wobble update, and just to keep people appraised of the situation. This Saturday is going to be new moon, so the energy is all going to be in our feet. It'll be interesting. With new moon, there always comes new energies and so forth. If you can, utilize them, meditate on them. Always, if you need earth information, meditate with a good tree. You just would be surprised. Knowledge will come to you. It's always in the universe. So with that, a closing prayer as always. I do honestly love you all. Thank you for your considerations. Thank you for your prayers and thoughts towards me and others. Spread those prayers around. Stay in your cosmic core. Keep with the compassion. Keep with the love. Keep a level head about some of this stuff. And reconsider that maybe they may be right, but stretching the truth. So I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the healing, the blessings, and the knowledge and the wisdom from the infinite creator and all of the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations on all realms and planes will also continue to accept, receive, and accept these energies from the universe, the healing, the knowledge, and all of the wisdom that comes with it. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to receive, accept, and share these simple things with your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, and that we may continue to pass along peace between us, you and me. Peace be to all beings on this earth. Peace be to all these beings on this earth. Peace be to all the beings in the universe. We can bring peace. We just need to manifest it. People want to manifest a new car. People want $1 million. I want to manifest peace on this planet between us, all the beings, interdimensional and otherwise, and with the beings in the rest of the universe. That's my wish. That's my intent. We all work on that. Fourth dimension will be a breeze, and we'll all have a good time when we get there. And when the roll is called up yonder, and when the roll is called up yonder, when the roll is called up yonder, and when the roll is called up yonder, when the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. Up yonder is a higher frequency. It's the fourth dimension. So when the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I hope you're there when the roll is called up yonder. Let's all meet on the fourth and party out, my friend. So until next time, I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. I continue to pray each and every day for you. Spread the love and the compassion. So TTFN, which means tiny ticks, fooling nanobites. Anyway, TTFN, ta ta for now. I love you all. Bye bye. Peace out, Supernatural.